right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker up on TSN 2. Bryan Hayes, Yo-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's up?
What's going on a Friday afternoon? How we feeling?
I have one hashtag to start the day, and it goes like this. You quit on McIlroy. Hashtag you quit on Rory, and I didn't.
You're such a loser,
dude.
and it's so untruthful. This guy
I will
called
say
me.
one thing. No. Hang on a sec. I do feel bad because you caught a couple strays. There's some jerks on Twitter. Underneath that tweet, it's like, he also quit on the Sens. I almost wrote back and wrote, I know, he's a jerk. Another guy was like, he quits on everything. He hates the Devils.
I do hate the Devils, so I'm not going to sway off that. But listen, we had private phone calls where we were torching this guy yesterday, McIlroy, for what he did down the stretch. And to his credit, man,
I think it was as early as this afternoon.
Yeah,
to
it
be
was.
honest.
It was. Even when he made the turn at 1 under, I'm like, this guy's not aggressive enough. What's he doing? He's going to finish 1 under and have no chance. And he absolutely destroyed the back nine. He shoots 6 under. It's the low score of the day. He's right there.
I'm happy for the guy.
So
man.
am I. It's an amazing story.
Because I think he just had a talk to himself, and who knows what goes on behind athletes' minds. It's one of the most fascinating things. Like, we see them as superstars, and they are, but like, what actually is going through their head? Are they nervous? Are they panicky? Like, what thoughts go through their head? And maybe he just had to talk to himself and said, I am playing too good right now to let 2 holes wreck what I'm doing. I got to go lights out, but that's what I got to do to get back into this tournament because I'm not a kid anymore, and who knows how many opportunities like this come around.
And didn't we finish the show? Because we literally finished the show with him at 0, and you saying on on Fridays he usually pukes it off. Like that's not his strong day, correct? Like I remember.
Generally Thursdays were an issue for him, and that was the concern, was that it was kind of following down a similar path, and it did feel like there was a fork in the road. Where if he shot 75 today and missed the cut, it would not have surprised anybody.
No,
like
but
it would not have surprised anybody.
Hayes, kind of crappy Thursday, and then he'll make the cut with a solid round. Kind of crappy Saturday, and then he'll go lights out when it doesn't matter on Sunday and creep into some kind of top 20 position where everyone can say, oh, there's Rory, and it doesn't mean anything. I hope he wins, man. I had a good feeling about him before the tournament.
Here we go.
I don't think you did.
Mr. McIlroy.
Guys.
Look at this guy now. Jeff McIlroy, always a believer.
Hayes, we said some really nasty things today on the phone. I mean, some of the worst things we could say about playing a par 5 and doing certain things.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that he showed some jam and he climbed back into it. This other guy, though, Scheffler, man.
Oh, he's right on his tail. He's tied with him right now.
I've just never seen a guy. He loafs around there like he's floating on air. And it's like the caddy says, see that branch up there? I want you to hit this driver starting at that branch, turn it 1 yard to the left, and he just nods his head. And he it's a joke the way he plays his golf course.
It is, man. He loafs around. It's the perfect description. He's an annoying guy to be behind at the mall. You know, you're like, can you move? Like, get out of the way.
He's
please.
a mall walker.
He's a mall walker at Augusta.
With 5-pound dumbbells.
Yes, and he is currently 6 under, but this leaderboard is the horniest leaderboard you can have on a Friday afternoon.
Wow.
Rose, DeChambeau, McIlroy, Scheffler, Lowry. There's Corey Connors, who's 1 under on the day, 5 under on the tournament, so he just gave up a shot going through Amen Corner.
Brought to you by Brazzers.
But, yeah, it is as good as it gets. Hatton's there, Day's there, Hovland's there, Olberg's there, Matsuyama. Like, it's just rock star after rock star after rock star.
It's not a guy that's come off the tin cup or anything.
No.
It's not. It's not any of those. There's not a surprise name. But
it's like Freddie Ridley said the other day, boys. He's like, we're not here to torture the best players in the world. What we're here to do is identify them. You're damn right you're doing that, Freddie Ridley.
That's right.
You're damn right.
And Fred Ridley Jr. earlier in this week, Al's brother, came out and he said that's exactly what we anticipate happening. And, again, it's still ongoing right now on TSN. We'll continue to track it, see who makes the cut, see where everything lands, see where the Canadians are at. Nick Taylor's into the weekend. He had himself a really good week, a really good day today, so that's big. Nick Taylor breaks that streak of 9 straight missed cuts at majors. He's into the weekend. So a lot more on that later this afternoon. Graham Dillette coming up. John Schneider will join us. It looks like news just broke that the game's postponed tonight.
Oh.
So, yeah, they're in Baltimore, but there's bad weather, so they're not even going to play. So it's a day off, and John's got to call into us. You know he loves golf. He is probably watching the Golf Channel or ESPN, and he's like, I got to call these idiots and check in and see what's going on. Man, was he bent out of shape with that umpire yesterday at Fenway.
That was embarrassing.
It was awful.
I know it goes I sound like a homer, but you're looking at it. Wasn't it 10 of 12 bad? They go back, and 10 of 12 went against the Jays. That's ridiculous.
Horrendous call. Like, Bichette got tuned up early in the game, and he just turned around and looked at him like, are we really doing this? Yeah. Like, are you being serious right now? And they end up losing in extra innings, but they take 3 of 4 in Baltimore. It's a great start.
Yeah.
They are still not hitting, or in Boston before they get to Baltimore, they're still not hitting any home runs. Like they've hit 6
bizarre.
On the season.
It's kind of getting bizarre a little bit. Like somebody tweeted yesterday, the Angels had 6 home runs today.
Right.
The Jays have 6 the whole season.
And you talk about the most obscure statistic, I would say, possibly in Blue Jay history. They have played 14 games. They have hit 6 home runs as a team. They have come from 3 players. This parlay, if you put this parlay in 3 weeks ago, through 14 games, 3 players would have home runs. You would be a billionaire today.
Yeah.
George Springer, Andreas Jimenez, Tyler Heineman have the 3 home runs. Heineman has a home run. He hasn't hit a home run since 2019. Like, it is crazy what's going on with the offense, yet the staff is on fire. The rotation's been great. Defensively, they've been playing great. They're grinding out wins. And
they're playing small ball pretty
absolutely.
well.
Yeah, they're 8-6, again, going into Baltimore, rained out tonight, but John Schneider will join us in 20 minutes.
That's good, though.
And we'll get into a number of things with him, including the Vladdy stuff, right? And I wonder if he looks back on yesterday thinking, I wish I didn't give him a day off, knowing they're not going to play today.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is you just said a day off in Baltimore. Like, that city's very, very gritty. Like,
on the players, I would have just said you're not canceling. We do not want a day off. We want to
We're playing in
for
Baltimore.
karma alone. We want to wait for something else down the line. We don't want to be in Baltimore off.
I know that somebody who listens to us in Baltimore is going to take offense to that. That is one of the roughest cities I've ever laid eyes on.
There's just no doubt about it. No one has anything. It's the biggest dump in the world. There's no other way around.
Listen to you two. I love Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been a Baltimore guy. Look at you two hating Baltimore, a beautiful port city. Beautiful
they used
port.
to have an AHL team, the Skipjacks there. Like it was, and
Baltimore
it was
Skipjacks.
It was. We were warned. They were like, don't walk to the rink was close. They're like, walk in pairs, go on the team bus. Like it was like that type of nonsense. Like it was scary.
It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Do you remember the famous show? Was it The Wire?
The Wire.
The Wire. The Wire was out of Baltimore.
The Wire could not be worse for a city's reputation than that show. I mean, it is.
I love that.
Were they
show.
blatantly showing downtown Baltimore on the screen and street names and stuff? Or was it just one of those things that people knew?
It's shot in Baltimore, and it's based on true events. Like the guy who wrote, a guy by the name of David Simon, I think was his name. He, I believe, used to be an investigator. I think he worked for the paper down there, and it's about the drug trade, drug game down there, the policing of it all, the politicians, and how dirty they all are. It's just an incredible show on HBO.
It is. Yeah.
But it's West Baltimore, East Baltimore, and it is. You watch one episode, you're like, I'm never going there ever in my life.
I'm telling you, it is.
It's
and
crazy.
It is bang on. Again, I wasn't in.
Well, you're not hanging out in West Baltimore.
No, but to have. Again, being on the road and you're excited to have the coach and the manager come in and go, guys, no messing around here. Don't go out. Don't be, hey. And we went to a bar around the corner, had beers, had dinner, all of that. And then it was straight back. And they were like, do not mess. And keep in mind, this is in the minors in 1991. This is not, recently. And it was scary. There were, I don't think I was seeing anything that we don't see on TV every day anywhere in any big city. That's not fair.
You can find it wherever you want to go.
But we were warned, be smart, and let's not
All right.
start acting
I'll take
up
Baltimore as my city. You guys are haters. I love Baltimore.
It's the biggest dump in the world.
No.
It's a gritty city.
The biggest dump in the world.
I want to say, Hayes, the rink had a stage at one side. Like, there was no fans. Like, there was a stage. I don't know what was going on. Like, it was the weirdest layout setup. Yeah.
JP, play it again. Just play it all day. It's the biggest dump in the world.
All right. You know what? We could use that for multiple reasons. If we're talking about a place, a city, or if a guy melts on a golf course or
anything. A guy throws a pizza behind the net. It's the biggest dump in the world. Yes. We are going to that cue call a lot.
Yes. Yeah. If anyone has any issues at any point. Like
referee can't see anything in the third period, blows calls. It's the biggest dump in the world. That's it.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody today, and my phone must have cut out, and they were asking me about the guy taking a leak in the lake yesterday at the Masters, and I'm like, well, it's not like he took a dump, like, and somehow the phone cut out, and it was just like, what did you say? Like, you said he took a dump in there? I'm like, I don't think he took a dump.
That is literally broken telephone. Like, because that
would have started. I
guarantee
you, as innocent as that was, somebody pulled him aside from Augusta National and said, don't ever do that again.
100%, man. That's a Roger Dorn. That's a Willie Mays Hayes. You know, like, you do that again, you owe me 20.
It's the biggest dump in the world.
Yeah, you cannot relieve yourself in Rays Creek at Augusta.
No.
Rays Creek. Is it Rays Creek is probably named after somebody and his family's just horrified right now, right? Like
for sure. It's, Ruth Ray, the former governor of Georgia, and it's some esteemed member of society. Yeah. But it's there's a drop for us moving forward. And so we got John coming up, John Schneider, in about 10 minutes. MJ will join us. We got a big weekend for the Leafs. We're getting closer and closer to the end game. I will say this. That win by Winnipeg last night was so impressive.
Yes.
And I think, you tell me if this is crazy. You tell me if this is one of the biggest dumps in the world in terms of a take. I think Hellebuyck may have wrapped up the Hart last night.
He did. That's a hard statement game.
That's a hard statement game. You go into Dallas and say, no dice. He has more shutouts than like 26 teams in the league. Or something like that.
It's over.
It's crazy.
And last night, there was TSN did a thing on Twitter. Is like, is this an MVP statement game? And he went in there and got a shutout.
Well,
he just won himself the Hart Trophy last night.
I was asked yesterday for SC. What can Hellebuyck do? Because he was number 2, I believe, behind Draisaitl and FanDuel, and they said, could this be a statement game? And I said, he's had a statement season,
right?
Like, and then I said, yes. You know what? If he delivers the President's Trophy, he's going to win the Vezina. Like, what else can he do? And then
he's first in all the categories.
And then I said, you couple that with Draisaitl's not playing right now. So, I get it, and there's no slight on Leon Draisaitl. I think he's had an amazing season. I do believe it's a Hart-worthy season, but right now, Edmonton's playing tonight. Draisaitl's not playing.
Right.
Hellebuyck's putting shutouts up against one of the top teams, a cup contending team in the Dallas Stars last night. So you're right. I think he's pushed through. I do believe if he hasn't won it last night, I mean, he's right there. It's 1 and 1A. McKinnon's
banged up now.
We haven't talked about
this. That's the thing. So McKinnon now is banged up, and that is probably going to cost him the Art Ross. Right now, Kucherov probably sneaks in there. You look at it, the last goalie to win the Hart was Carey Price.
Yeah.
And Price's numbers were a little bit better. He had more shutouts. I think his save percentage was .933, and Hellebuyck's is like .926 or .927.
Right.
Both of them
.933. That's
crazy, man, crazy.
Yeah.
And Price, I think, started even more games. But Hellebuyck's going to get 62 starts, have around a .930 save percentage, a goals against under 2. He's got more shutouts than 27 teams in the league. That was the stat. Yeah. I mean, there's other guys having great offensive seasons, but nothing that's crazy. Not like as great as Draisaitl's been. I'm not sure this has not been his best statistical year of his career.
I don't think so.
He's had better years.
One. Yeah.
McDavid's had clearly better. Kucherov's had better. McKinnon had better last year. It just, for me, first place, President's Trophy, best player on the best team, and the fact that he plays every night, I think that should matter. You look at his stats, because I was looking it up last night after that game. Every year of his career, the guy plays every night. Yeah. Like every single year of his career, it's like 57 starts, 62, 64, 59, 66.
Yeah.
The COVID year, he started like 43 of 56 games or something. Never hurt, never a night off, never gets pulled. And for just out of appreciation for the fact that he's an old school guy, I want to see him win it. Like, I want to see him win it for that. So he steps up and goes, next year I'm going to start 65 games. Well, and anyone that doesn't like it, you can...
Here's another thing, Hayes. He said his own personal career high in wins. And I know wins are a team stat and all that, but 45 wins this guy has underneath his belt in 61 appearances.
Unreal.
1.99 save percent or goals against. Like, it just... I think he's had, that's a Hart season. And what's crazy about Hellebuyck, and it wasn't that long ago, he would have amazing season statistically, little off here. Amazing season, little off here. He won the Vezina last year.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's the crazy, like, he's doubling down. And,
right.
For me, I agree. I think he has to be the lead dog for the Hart just based on what he's done. Now, this team, Kevin Sawyer did a really nice sit-down with Gino, and he laid out some stuff. This team isn't Hellebuyck only. That's the thing. In past years, he's been the guy. Like, it's been Hellebuyck, and hey, he gives them a chance every night. The team is a lot better in front of him.
I know, but people that know hockey understand there's not that megastar up front. There's not that McCarr. There's not that McKinnon.
Yeah.
There's
you're
a
right.
bunch of good players, and then there's the goalie.
Yeah, you're right. Because, again, if you look at that Habs team in 13-14, I think it was, not a stacked team at all.
Yeah.
Won a lot of games, but not a stacked team. Like, Subban was still there. PK, I don't think he won the Norris that year, but it would have been around that era that he won the Norris. But you're right. You look at it, Kyle Connor's a stud. He's a stud. And Scheifele's a stud. And Morrissey's a stud. But none of them are going to win the Hart. None of them are going to be up for the Norris or anything like that. And it's just a really well-balanced team where Hellebuyck clearly is the man.
Yeah.
And that was just a really impressive win. And that pretty much wraps up certainly the division, probably the President's Trophy. I think they got a 3-point buffer on Washington. And, it's very similar to what the Leafs are going to be dealing with. But now, all of a sudden, Ekman-Larsson, not practicing today, he's banged up. The Leafs are going to have to play 5 defensemen tomorrow night.
Well, I saw that.
And
Is
probably
that a cap
Sunday
thing?
in Carolina. Well, yeah, it's a cap thing. They're up against it. I guess they've been using long-term IR forever. I don't know. It's a complicated cap scenario where, for whatever reason, they can't call anybody up, which I find
dumbest thing in
it's
the
so
history of
stupid.
sports.
But
It's embarrassing is what it is.
It is. Now, I'm sure the league would say, well, then give yourself room. Then give yourself flexibility. That the rules. So that's the counter. Yeah. But it is silly that you're this close to the playoffs in a team of this stature. And what I mean by that is they're going to the playoffs, and they're in first place, have to possibly play 5 defensemen tomorrow night. Because McCabe's not going to play and Ekman-Larsson's not going to play. Well,
Edmonton the other day went 11-5. I don't know if you saw that because Wallman was sick before the game.
Right.
So it was they played 11-5, like not 12-5 or 12-6, 11-5, and McDavid came back in because RNH was nicked up. So these teams that are up against the cap, like it's hey, we're going to play short tonight. Listen, these guys can handle it. They can all handle the ice time and all of that. But it's a bit weird, and it's obviously a bit concerning as you look through the league. And you mentioned it. Colorado just going on a road trip. They're leaving half their team at home right now. Like, I think teams are going, okay, if we're cemented in our spot, enough's enough. Like, the weird part is other teams have to put their foot on the gas going, we want this spot. Like, the Leafs want this spot. They can give themselves a breather if they have a good weekend. Then they can shut some guys down. Then they can do what they need to do.
What do they need on the weekend? Do they need 3 or 4?
I think they need 2. I think you need 2. I mean, Tampa's got... what do they have? Detroit tonight, I think. After Detroit
which is
played,
a win,
and they just played Florida last night, so sets up well. I think they got Buffalo on Sunday after Buffalo plays Florida tomorrow night. So they get back to this is all week. Leafs, Detroit, Buffalo. They're going to face them all 3 teams after they played Florida the night before. It's just a massive advantage for Tampa. So I think there's a good chance Tampa walks out with 4 points this weekend, which means if you want to have a lead as of Monday, you got to get at least 2 points.
Yeah, you gotta have 2 or 3 points. Like, you do yourself some favor, you win both games.
You win both, you're home free.
And
more or less, you're home free.
And in the end, like you got to look at it that way. But I saw Jerry Hockenpah was skating
he's out there. Hockenpah's out there. Pacioretty's out there. Like he's not. They're not prepared to play. It doesn't sound that way anyway.
But it's you're starting to get some guys. around the cusp of we were talking about it yesterday, like what's it going to look like here at the bottom of the roster? They've got some options, but you want to be healthy. I don't know where McCabe's status is at. I didn't.
He wasn't even on the ice today. I don't know. I'm getting a little nervous about that. And Brady Tkachuk not playing again tonight.
Well, that's another one.
Got to be nervous in Ottawa, man.
I think that's flown under the radar, but that's Game 6, and now all of a sudden, I know Travis came out in the media a while back, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and said he had a hip thing going. But now they've deemed the upper body. The injury was a collision. I called the game. It looked, was an incidental collision, but it was still heavy. I don't know the nature of the injury, but
all you can hope is the guy is just saying, "Look, I'm not playing until the playoffs because I just don't care enough. We clinched. Nothing's important." But then if it's like misses Game 1, then you got a serious problem.
Well, you got a serious problem on your hand if he's not 100%. Like Ottawa, even to compete in the playoffs, needs everybody. And that being said, there are teams down the stretch here. I was looking at that Edmonton team too. Like I think the McDavid thing was coy because my understanding is he was available like a week ago, and they were just like, no, you're going to be 110% before you even look at the ice type of thing, and he bullied his way in there or whatever. But, Draisaitl, I think they're being overly cautious. Sounds like Stuart Skinner is available, is going to back up tonight. So they're, and Ekholm, same type of thing.
He's going to play, I think, Ekholm tonight.
So these teams that are trying to get healthy here with a week out, 9-10 days out, but your star players have to be available to you when it's go time. That's the biggest thing. And it's not like, hey, you know what, I haven't played in a month, now I'm just going to turn it on. Like guys are good enough to do that, but so much at stake.
Yeah.
Be careful.
I mean, it can go either way, right? You can be rusty or you can be fresh for the first time in a long time. And I guess we'll find out as we get closer to the playoffs, because by this time next week, the playoffs will be set. Regular season will be over, and we'll know. It's going to happen quickly in terms of where all the chips fall. Again, the Blue Jays in Baltimore tonight, but it's been postponed due to bad weather. But John Schneider will join us, so we'll get John's take on the season so far. Jays are 8-6. They just took 3 of 4 out of Fenway. Vladdy, is he splashing money around? Like, is that something the manager can get?
That's more than a team dinner. That's like you fly the boys to Vegas, trainers, coaches, everyone.
Something's got to be on the line, I would think.
Yeah, I think you do that, but from Baltimore, you
get to D.C. pretty quick.
I was just going to, you could do D.C. or you could do it.
You're going to wait for the timing. We're out west. You're going to fly us into Vegas on an off day, and it's
that's true.
Go nuts time.
Okay. Well, we'll see what John can tell us about that, and if any plans are in action already. And again, we'll continue to look ahead to a series that will resume or will start tomorrow in Baltimore. Tracking the Masters, tracking Corey Connors, who's still out there, and he's 6 under on the tournament, 2 under on the day. So he's right there.
I just watched your guys, Bernard, what's his name?
Bernie Langer.
Bernie
he just threw it in the water.
On
the look on his face.
Well, he's dying to make the cut.
Dude, he said to his son, I was lip reading. He said to his son, he goes, God damn, I'm going to miss the cut now. I swear to God, that's what he said to his son.
He probably did.
And he was on, and then it rolled down.
Yes,
and I was like,
and then that's when he looked at his kid and said that. I know he said that.
Where is he on 15?
Yeah, he's on 15, putting for bogey.
Oh, no,
got
Bernie.
A visor on, too.
Well, and, you know what I saw to my peripheral, which this guy, you got to claim this, and you are owed royalties. Because Scott Van Pelt was sitting there with Justin Rose, and I could see that they were wrapping up the interview, and Van Pelt went in for the handshake, and Rosie met him right in the middle in the Butler cabin. It was your handshake. You got to try to find the viz. It's so awkward. It's so uncomfortable, yet they pulled it off and made it look professional.
It's funny you say that. I watched that live, and I was like, that was beautiful.
That was a great handshake.
Yeah,
it was. Hey, congratulations on leading after 36.
Joe from the bridge, get it, and we'll come back. And if Schneider's not there yet, we'll get it.
A full breakdown of SVP and Justin Rose in Butler cabin. John Schneider coming up. Mike Johnson still to come. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel. John Schneider will join us here in a moment. We'll get to Mike Johnson later this afternoon. Don't forget, your ticket in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery gives you a chance to win over 17,000 prizes valued at more than $13 million. And and it also helps us all dream of a brighter tomorrow. Every ticket sold supports world-leading cancer research, never thought possible discoveries and promising new treatments at Princess Margaret Cancer Center, and that's definitely worth supporting, but time is tight. Midnight tonight is the absolute final deadline for the $9 million grand prize, a stunning 7,000 square foot Oakville show home, plus $500,000 in cash. Buy your tickets now at princessmargaretlotto.com. All right, John Schneider here in a moment. They got a day off in Baltimore, so I got to think that's a big win. If you're going to get a rain out, there's never rainouts in Toronto because they'll just close the dome.
Right.
If you're on the road, you got no responsibilities. Like, there's no expectation that all of a sudden you're running errands or, hey, maybe you got to do something around the house. I think you just kick your feet up and basically watch the Masters all afternoon.
You watch the or you could go to an establishment.
Possibly.
Dive bar all day, hammer beers, watch golf.
Exactly. But go, like I said, about Baltimore, go in pairs. Go with
okay. So maybe
Major
Pete
League
Walker's got to
Security.
come with them. Is that what you're telling
Yeah,
me?
bring a bat with you.
Yeah,
just in
bring
case.
Walker, Mattingly, and a bat if you're going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Here he is. They got the night off. It's a rain out in Baltimore. Here's the manager of the Blue Jays, John Schneider. What's your plan now? You got an off day, John.
You guys are tempting me right now. I don't know. I'm actually doing part of that. I got my feet up in the hotel watching the Masters, and we'll see where the rest of the night goes. But
Yeah.
it is nice to kind of just kick your feet up and turn the mind off for a little bit.
Absolutely.
As far as cities to get a day off, where would that rank on your list?
The bottom.
Don't radio yourself now. Just be
Man.
like, it can't be that high, can it?
I would say there's definitely better places to have an off day. It's a great hotel. But the weather in Baltimore this time of year is great. So
Yeah.
it's not on the top of my list.
Okay. Yeah, it's a hotel spot, and that's all that matters. Like you said, you got a good hotel, and you guys are riding pretty high coming out of Fenway. You take 3 of 4. And yesterday was a battle. It goes to extra innings. I heard a lot of the guys talking after the game about kind of gritting out games and playing with grit, and those are words we appreciate on this show. I think you were echoing them as well. I mean, what do you make of your team up to this point?
Yeah, I think, it's a very accurate way to describe it. It's a tough road trip going New York, Boston, and Baltimore out of the chute, but I think that's the kind of group that we have, from pitchers to our position players. The starting pitching has been phenomenal, and the bullpen's been great as well. And there have been really close games, but we're kind of getting contributions from everyone. And I think there is something to be said about, coming to the yard and expecting to win, which is what we're thinking right now. And there's a big difference in expecting to win and hoping to win, So there's definitely some different personalities, in the clubhouse that kind of amplify that a little bit, and we talk about it every single day. So it's nice that there's those conversations happening, and it's showing on the field too. So been kind of a total team effort.
John, was it good news? Happy to get the Vladdy stuff out of the way. Was that at all a distraction, or was that maybe more distraction when it came to the media and the fans on the outside? But tell us or walk us through the process, and happy to get it done.
Yeah, definitely happy for him and for us that we got it done. No matter how many times me or him, you say, I'm worried about, just today. It's there, right? It's there, and I think Vladdy's a little bit more at ease now that everything is official and completed. So he's a special guy, and I think this is obviously a huge deal for our organization, and historically big contract. So it's really cool that I've been able to kind of see him evolve as a player, both minor leagues, big leagues, and couldn't be happier for him to be rewarded for that. So, and again, there's a lot of boxes you have to check. It's not just on the field. It's, when you're making a commitment to a guy to kind of be the face of your franchise, there's a lot of things that he does that are really important to us in the clubhouse as well. So, looking forward to, the next couple of games here, but definitely for Monday, to where we can kind of, get him in front of everyone and speak to the fans. And I know that there was a lot of talk about whether or not it was going to get done. So happy for Vladdy, thrilled for the organization and for our fan base to have someone to kind of grasp onto for the next 14 years.
Schneider, that kind of number is like, doesn't that warrant more than like buying everyone some lunch? Like, that's like, you get everybody on a bird and go somewhere on a day off out west or something, isn't it, man? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, with the rain out today, you should see the team group chat going on about where's Vlad taking everyone. Yeah, that's $500 million is a lot.
Yeah, so, man, it's a lot.
That's Vlad, he's very, very thoughtful, though. I will say that. He takes care of a lot of people. So I'm sure he'll treat everyone in his own way over time.
With John Schneider, and you mentioned the behind-the-scenes stuff. Obviously, that kind of price tag comes with an expectation that you're going to produce. You got to be a superstar. Sure. You got to be one of the best players on the field, and that's what everyone on the outside can see is what he's going to do in the field, what he's going to do in the batter's box, what kind of numbers he's going to put up over 15 years. But in terms of the maturation of Vladdy and maybe what you've seen the last couple of years and what you think needs to be triggered or needs to possibly continue to mature, is there anything in particular you can point to behind the scenes where you say, with this type of commitment, we need this, that, or the other behind the scenes from Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we obviously think the production is going to be there, right, for the duration of this contract. I think what he's already done in the last couple of years is realize how much power his voice has, right, when he's talking to the guys. And I think he doesn't like to be overly vocal, but I think he understands now when he talks, people listen. And with the contract, whether you like it or not, comes a certain expectation of how we do things, the way things, how do we want them done, and he's got to live it, So I think players feel that as well. When you do get a contract like this, I think you feel a little bit more responsibility to do your part, not just production on the field, but understanding how important you are to the team. And Vladdy has already started to do that behind the scenes. I think that's what gave us, even more confidence to really, hammer out the extension, is because he really, really understands how good he is, and he really understands the influence he can have on everyone else in the clubhouse.
Well, and the amazing thing about him is, we're living in a modern sports world where a lot of guys take days off. A lot of guys, if they're 90%, they're not going to go. You had to pull him from the lineup yesterday. Like, he plays every single day, and you've been around baseball for a long time. How important is that characteristic, in terms of investing in a player, knowing – yeah, he's worth a lot. He's already worth a lot of money, but he's a baseball freak. He wants to play. You got to drag him off the field. How significant is that in terms of the leadership you're talking about?
Yeah, I love that. He's been durable. He posts every day. I think people kind of forget that about him, but he posts every single day. And, we were talking through when we left New York about getting him a day off. He was doing so much in Boston here with the physical, and he was after games going for MRIs and doctor stuff. He was really doing a lot. So we wanted to get him at least half a game off of his feet throughout that whole process. But to have a guy that plays every day, to just write in Guerrero every day, for one, it's awesome. It's great. But just to know that you're doing it, day after day after day. Bo's the same way. These guys never want to come out of the lineup. And that's just such a luxury to have. And when you're talking about a guy that's going to be the face of the franchise going forward, how you post and how you compete every single day just is a huge, huge part of it.
The tweets are popping up about how you guys are having success without the long ball. John,
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of balance the success you're having and still kind of maybe letting guys know that any time now maybe step up with the long ball, or is that something you literally can't say anything about? It just kind of has to happen organically.
Yeah, they know, right? I think the quality of the at-bat has been so encouraging up and down the lineup, and that's without, guys who are going to hitting homers yet. So if you guys could have been in Boston and New York and how cold, especially Boston, it's freezing. It's hard to hit this time of year, and we absolutely know that the power is going to come from the guys that we're expecting it to come from. So not worried about it, but I do like the way we are scoring, and I do like the way that we are trying to manufacture runs and the quality of the at-bat and beating down starters. So if we keep doing that and then the home runs start coming, I think that's when you see, a little bit more, runs scored, bigger innings, less one-run games, all that kind of stuff. But right now, a lot of it is weather. A lot of it is getting into the flow of the season, and have all the confidence in the world that these guys are going to hit the ball over the fence.
With John Schneider, and yeah, it is amazing through 14 games. Bichette, Santander, Vladdy, none of them have hit home runs. Only 3 guys on your team have hit a home run. I said earlier, if you parlayed Heineman, Jimenez, Springer as the only guys to hit a home run through 14 games, you'd have $1 billion. It's crazy to see, yet it's a reality. And again, you're over 500. And you're actually getting production from the cleanup spot, which was a huge discussion last year. We talked about it countlessly on this show. We had you on a bunch. Jimenez has hit there. Springer hit a home run in the cleanup spot the other day. And your strategy, can you take us through that? Like you're going Bo, Vladdy, Santander. You're pretty committed to that. And then you've got a guy who doesn't generally hit for power. George has clearly throughout his career, but he's always let off throughout his career. Take us through your strategy in terms of what you want between your 4, 5, 6 hitter, because it's somewhat unconventional in terms of like that power bat, quote unquote, not being there in the 4-hole every day.
Yeah, good question. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think the top 3, I think just watching Bo hit over the course of his career and where he kind of landed in spring training, he's instant offense when he's right. Having Vlad behind him, I think I want Vladdy up in the first inning, and I want Tony up in the first inning. So I'm pretty committed to where the 3-hole comes up with nobody on and 2 outs, more than any other time in the game in the first inning, and you get a guy who had 44 homers last year. It's a chance to just A, give you a quick lead, and B, with the way the games are run these days, it makes the other manager think, okay, do I want my starter to face this guy 3-4 times? So that's the thinking behind that. With him in the 4-hole, for one, I love the at bat quality. When we acquired him, we, meaning the organization, David Popkins, we kind of immediately said there is way more in this bat. Looking back to just a couple of years ago when I think he hit 20 homers or 22 homers or something, where we didn't want him to. You're hitting 4th, I want you to hit 30 homers. The quality of the at bat. He can either hit the ball hard, he can bunt, he can run, he can steal a base. I kind of just like that there to get a left-handed hitter in there too. And then followed up by either, Georgie or Kirky, depending on who we're facing. I love the way George is swinging the bat. He's made some adjustments with Pop as well, and has been really, really productive and really, really efficient in his at-bat. So it's not set in stone. I love what the bottom of the order is doing too. Whether it's Lukey, Roden, Miles, Piney. I mean, these guys they're putting together really good at bats. So the thinking of it is it's almost like 3 parts, right? You got Bo, Vlad, Tony, you got Hemi, Georgie, and somebody, and then you can kind of mix and match at the bottom 3. And as you turn it back over to the top, whoever's at the bottom too, they're pretty good base runners. So you have some contact skills, some on-base skills, and they can run the bases for when the big boys come back up around. So that's kind of the way I thought about it when I put it together. And again, it's probably going to change over the course of the year. It always does, but I really like how they kind of play, off of one another, and it's really a 9-against-1 attack.
Well, and one adjustment you'll have to make is when Dalton Varsho returns. And it sounds as if he's trending in the right direction. Defensively, your stats have been great. Your play has been great. I mean, that must be very encouraging that you got a Gold Glover who's not even playing for you, and everything has kind of been working in terms of, people doing what they're supposed to do. But what's the latest on Varsho, and how do you see him impacting the way you're going to fill out the lineup card every day?
Yeah, Varsh, I mean, for one, I think it gets so overlooked that, in my opinion, you have the best outfielder in baseball and you have the best infielder in baseball on your team every day up the middle, and Jimenez and Varsh. So he's progressing really well. This past week has been his best week throwing. He's yesterday threw to the bases. He's gotten out to 200 feet in his throwing program, and the feedback from him has been really good. Both the consistency and when he's throwing and how he's feeling afterwards. So hopefully by the the beginning of next week, we get him into some minor league games where he has been playing, but just hasn't been making throws. So I think hopefully beginning of next week, he's kind of full go in the outfield, and then after that, get him up to AAA for however many games we need to get him up there and catch and get some game speed under his belt. But hope it's not too much longer until we see him, and then I think when he is here, he'll slot in somewhere in the middle of the order on basically a nightly basis. So thrilled that he's making progress, and excited to see him go to work up the middle of the defense with him and as a bow too.
Max Scherzer brought in. We know what he's capable of, but obviously, nicked up. How concerning, any updates, all of that type of stuff where, how valuable he can be, but obviously not available to you.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate, right? I think Max, he had a good spring, actually a really good spring, and
yeah.
I mean, talk about just a difference maker in the clubhouse, right? Hall of Fame pitcher, he rubs off on everybody, and is basically no nonsense, which is awesome. He's been throwing for about 4 or 5 days now. He's throwing every day and just kind of ramping back up to where we can get him off a mound. So I think the fact that it was only about a week down from throwing will hopefully expedite that process when he does get on the mound. And he's obviously very, very important to our team and what we're trying to do this year. So as soon as we can get him back, we're definitely going to welcome him.
Well, best of luck with the plans this afternoon. You got some time on your hands. Enjoy Baltimore, and we'll catch you back home on Monday. Thank you for doing this.
You bet, guys. Good talking with you. Thanks.
You got it. There's John Schneider, manager for the 8-6 Blue Jays. Rained out tonight, back in action.
Guy's always
tomorrow.
Great with us. Always appreciate
Yeah, he's always
that.
fun to chat with, man. They're in a good spot right now. They're playing well. They're not hitting for any power. He makes a good point about the weather and all that kind of stuff. But the guys that are going to mash are going to mash. Like, Bichette's going to hit, Vladdy's going to hit, Santander's going to hit. It's once they hit, the other guys, they got to keep up. You can't. That's the issue. You can't have them show up and then all of a sudden the staff falls back down to earth or starts to crater, or your bullpen starts to fall apart a little bit. And we didn't even mention that. Like, the bullpen has been really, really quality for them. Jeff Hoffman was great at Fenway a couple of days ago. He's been very good statistics. His arm looks good. Thank you to Baltimore. Thank you to Atlanta for passing on him. It's been a good start. All right, what do we got going? We got a lot going on today. Actually, you know what we should do? Al's brother has been hiding 4 different locations in the city, 4 different spots, and it's time for you to tell us where he has been all week. 416-870-1050. Call us right now, 416-870-1050. The first caller through who can name all 4 of the locations that Al's brother was hiding at this week wins a pair of tickets to see Leafs Red Wings April 17th. Find Al's brother has been brought to you by McAlpine Ford in Aurora, our family, the Ford family, and you. 416-870-1050. There you go. Call in now and tell us where Al's brother's been. All right, we're tracking the Masters where Corey Connors.
Go ahead.
What do you got? Do you have an update for us? Corey Connors, do you have an update for us? Connors is 6 under last time I checked.
Corey Connors is 6 under, but more interestingly, Rick Dunlap, who blew a 90 at Augusta National yesterday, is -3 through 12 today.
Yes, I love saying that, man.
Ricky Dunlap.
I love that he played, man. I give him so much credit. I thought he'd pull the shoot for sure. And he's on 14. He's 3 under for the day. He's going to miss the cut by a million strokes. But still, he battled. He was grinding.
Like, how much would he miss the cut by? 16?
It'll be 12 to 14 strokes. Probably.
It just wouldn't tell the story if he was at the airport and someone said, "Where'd you play golf today?" And he said, "Augusta National." And they said, "What'd you shoot?" And he says, 67. But they didn't ask, "What'd you shoot the day before?"
Wow, you missed a cut? Man, 67. That's lights out.
That is crazy.
Only a one round cut this year.
Yeah. Somehow you had to shoot 66 or better to get into the weekend. I just missed it. All right, Mike Johnson in about 15 minutes. Thanks again to John Schneider. Dear Hazy B coming up later this afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Mike Johnson in about 10 minutes. Might sprinkle in a few mini Jerry's into the next hour. I've been saying that the last couple of days. We never do it, but today's the day. Mini Jerry's are coming up. And the Leafs and Habs tomorrow night. Ivan Demidov, right, at Pearson. People stalking him at Pearson Airport last night.
But weren't those Habs fans?
Yes, they were, which I actually have great appreciation for. If you're a Montreal Canadian fan in Toronto and you go to Pearson, that is a diehard fan.
What I want to know is the people with the Habs stuff. How do they know where he? Like,
they were tracking his plane, man. They were doing the Toronto. They were doing the Ohtani Babcock move. That's what it was. The guy was. He was in Turkey. He was literally in Turkey.
Why is he not getting onto another plane? Like why?
Well, the Habs
he's just
are in
meeting
town.
the team.
Yeah, the Habs are in town.
It.
They play Ottawa tonight, but he's probably like, and there's not many flights from Istanbul to Montreal, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it could have been a scenario where it's like you got to get into the country, fly into Toronto, and then maybe back to Montreal. He might be there right now. I don't know.
He also might have had to do paperwork in Toronto to get, as far as visas and stuff like that too, right? Like there is some like business side of
That's why he was in Turkey, man. They were waiting for his papers and they were tracking him and getting a new haircut.
Maybe Struddy saw him over there. Maybe Struddy could give us the flight plans from Turkey into Canada.
Wouldn't that have been incredible if Strud was on that flight and walked out with all those Hab fans?
With a helmet on in the background.
Demidov takes a picture of Struddy's salad and says, "This guy looks familiar."
Yeah, this is an NHL veteran.
Yeah. Saw this guy at the Spangler. Who is this guy?
Spangler Cup legend and Turkey hairstyle aficionado. But they were tracking his plane, man, coming over for Turkey, and that's bold. In Toronto, at Pearson, Habs fans waiting for him. That's how much hype is around this kid right now.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's committed. Yeah. It's committed fandom. Those aren't patrons; those are fanaticals. Those are fans. All right, hour 2 coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.